Okay, Ides of Monday. Welcome, everybody. It's the Monday after NFP. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? So,
Always.
as I looked at the charts this morning, I didn't trade NFP. I was a bit wrapped up on Friday, but what struck me, there was a beautiful TPO poor high that played out, and then the figure just, got to all the good levels. I'm looking at the daily chart and feeling a bit kind of meh. Well, nothing's really changed. It was Pal's speech earlier in the week. So when was that? That would have been Wednesday, wasn't it, when I was doing the live session?
Yes.
And that Pal speech later in the day, that gave us the change, and we're still kind of bouncing around, hanging around that. Now, what was noticeable about Pal's speech or the trading through that? We left massive run of TPO single prints, and NFP here, my cursor is traded down through one, two. Well, we repaired one and two chunks of them in the sessions immediately following. NFP repaired the third. There's still a bunch of single prints, poor structure below us. But, we've had one huge range from Pal's speech, biggest range from NFP. Friday, okay, it retested the reaction area from NFP. Now, unsurprisingly, overnight, we're inside. I think we're still going to be digesting information, and we are going to be churning around a little bit for the next day or two. Looking on the calendar, I didn't spot anything especially stand out this week. Okay, it's PMI, an hour, 30 minutes in today. That's something to keep an eye on. We can get a reaction off that. But apart from that PMI figure today, going through the docket, nothing jumped out to me. Consumer sentiment in Michigan, that sometimes causes a reaction, doesn't it, on Friday? I think we're going to consolidate a bit. That's my take. In terms of overnight and what things are looking at, overnight session at the high doesn't show itself to be especially too high. Nice price trajectory at the low, near 50, big fat round number. Where could we head down to if we break the overnight low? There's some value area boundaries up at the top. We teased some value area boundary. We've got the poor high from, well, no, we repaired that poor high actually, didn't we? During Friday day session. We still haven't put in much excess. So we're in the middle. I'm I'm not expecting any massive moves. I'm also not expecting great clarity or certainty when we open as to which way we want to go. Feels like we're digesting and even still accommodating that change from Wednesday. So I'm feeling frankly a bit meh about what's there. I really want to sit on hands and wait and see. What's your take, Jeff?
Exactly the same as yours. And while we're on the topic, hedge fund call, we had the exact same conversation. Everybody that works for someone else is under pressure to perform between now and the end
Yeah.
of the year. The one thing you didn't mention about this week is it's rollover week.
Yes, it starts, doesn't it?
It does. And then we have the biggest quad witch, the year-end quad witch next week. So, absent withdrawal from Formula One until it restarts in March, these guys were, they're looking to put money to work, if nothing else, just to prove that they should have a job. There's a lot of discussion about layoffs and throughout the economy, but on Wall Street as well. It's not been a great year for most of the banks. So yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you. We talked a little bit about this at the reopen as well. And I said exactly the same thing you did. We're inside those big giant moves. And my interpretation is that the lows got bought and we're much closer to the highs. And I don't think we're done going up, but we need to consolidate more. So
yeah, and you look on the daily chart, the shape, the direction is clearly up. You're a chartist looking at that, we're going up. But we have got some biggish ranges. And right now, it seems to happen many Mondays, doesn't it? We look at where we are starting the week. We're in the middle of what's gone on previously. So,
we need extremes.
Cautious. Yes. Absolutely.
Yep. And 50, interesting. I've been trading for the last few hours, and 50 got bought, which is typical, the half a whole number, 40, 50 in ES. And there's a huge hole in the volume profile up at about 66, where there's just no volume between two big bumps. And the other thing that I noticed is, what's the best way to describe this? I can't describe it well. I think today is going to be informative, but I think it's really important to keep that idea of the big range. Extremes are always going to be playable. That's where I was going with that. So 40-50 got bought, and it always does. Now we only went back up to 57, so it's a nice 7-point pop off the low, but it's still right in that area. And the other thing, looking at the TPO, I was watching that poor high that got cleaned up. And the other thing I'm watching is I still think 41.50 is going to be the area where it's really going to be, is this going to get sold and continue the bear market? Or are we going to, try to have a holiday rally? That just feels like the right spot. And that's 100 points away from here. So, range. The range is all that matters.
Yeah, I feel for sure we can go higher and go, above these recent highs, 41.10 kind of level. But from where will it start? And I wouldn't buy it blindly here. I don't think in the next week or so we're going to see another big day that pops us out of the range. Now, for sure, top of the recent range we broke out of, say, we've spoken about it, haven't we? 40-50. That's going to be interesting. Of course, if we break down through Friday's low. So what's that, 4,007? Then there's a whole bunch of single prints to go and nibble through, which will be very nice. And there's a poor low from that day as well. But we're in the middle. We've got to really understand which way are we going before we jump on board and try and travel to the edges of the ranges at the moment.
It's also noteworthy today. The volume is absurdly low again. For December, having 157,000 contracts traded at this time of day, that's like summer volume. And so, and this keeps coming up on the hedge fund call too, just over and over again. When there's a good opportunity, the volume's coming out of nowhere. And when we're not at a good opportunity, there's just no volume. So guess what? Follow the volume and you should be okay.
And the whole movement over the past week or two, I know all the live sessions I've done have been like that. We just do nothing.
Yeah.
And then a bit of volume comes in, 15, 20 minutes, move quite fast, but then we just tick tock away, a few sweeps here and there.
Yep.
And it's like, but it isn't even that rangy in what it's doing. That's the thing. It's just stalling and bouncing with the odd sweep. So it's awkward.
Yep, it is. It's definitely a challenging environment, but there are lots of opportunities. This is what I was seeing last night. If you just kind of patiently wait, let it get down to the one edge or the other, and watch for people stepping in. There's plenty of ticks out there to put in the bank, but it's definitely a good environment to interpret slowly.
That's a smart way of talking about it. Let's think about the TRG calendar for the week ahead, because I'm causing all sorts of problems.
Yes, you are.
Sure are.
What are we? I know we've moved some stuff around a little bit this week.
Yeah, hang on. I'm bringing it up right now so I can talk to it too.
Me too.
So today we have scalping the dome with me in Jigsaw Dome, and that's right on the initial balance. Excuse me, it's after that. It's at 8:30. So 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern. This should be an interesting day. I mentioned this also in the reopen session last night. I'm going to try to talk a lot about a question I'm getting over and over again. When I'm fading the edge of a ledge or I'm fading a range, how do I know when I should be scaling in, swarming, or when I'm just wrong? And that's an art. And we talked about it quite a bit last night. There's some good discussion around the 1 hour mark of last night's video. But that's what we're going to be doing. Hopefully we'll have conditions where we'll be on high volume nodes or on ledges, and we can talk about it and trade it. So anyway, that is, I think that's the only other thing we have today. And
Yes.
then tomorrow, tools exhaustion and setup stats outside in. Are you doing those, JVC, or what's the story?
I was just going to ask, Lee, am I doing those?
You absolutely are.
Okay.
So that's the 6th at 11:30 Eastern and the 6th at 12:30 Eastern. So tools exhaustion and then outside in stats.
Yep.
And then Wednesday, I am doing something I haven't done in a while. I've done some trading the open, the open 5 sessions, and I've done some trading the initial balance. I haven't done one straight through. So that's what we're doing on Wednesday. It should be a lot of fun. We're going to start. Yeah, we're going to start. Hang on, I'm looking at, we're going to start right before the open, 5 minutes before the open, and then we're going to go all the way through the initial balance. And again, the focus is going to be just on taking the type of trades that I do and watching them set up. And, is this a legitimately good one? Is this a bad one? And that should be fun. It will be more dome based than chart based, but I'm going to try to integrate, particularly if we're at a ledge, I'm going to try to integrate the session footprint into it, because that's something I think many of you could learn from. I'm learning from it listening to Lee. So that is Wednesday. That's Thursday. So
Wednesday, you're doing that trading the open.
Yes, Wednesday.
Oh, so is there anything on Thursday?
No,
there is not.
Thursday's empty, and Friday's your regular.
Yeah,
closing
Friday.
session.
We have gaming. Yeah, we have gaming, the CME close. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So there's a chance I might throw some ad hocs up. So since Thursday has nothing, maybe I'll see if I can find a good one to throw on the calendar. Keep an eye out for that.
Sounds good. And then I think we packed some extra stuff in next week to make up for the 1 day of shortfall of the tool classes, but we'll deal with that next Monday. They're all scheduled.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of ideas for ad hocs to throw in over these next 2 or 3 weeks. It turns out, we also talked about this briefly last night, but it turns out we have one of the most, what's the right word? One of the most cooperative, how's that for a word? One of the most cooperative calendars around the holidays that we get, because the 24th and 25th are Saturday and Sunday. So we don't lose a whole week by having Christmas Eve on Wednesday, So this could be a rock and roll. Remember, this week, rollover. Next week, quad witching. The week after that, Christmas. The week after that, the week between Christmas and New Year's. The seasonality of this is really strong. It's highly unusual that we wouldn't at least make an attempt to go up here. And again, on the hedge fund call, that's all they're talking about. God, if we could start a holiday rally, there's a whole lot of money on the sideline that would join any sort of holiday rally to pump their numbers up. So be aware of that.
Cool. I think we're good.
I think so. So why don't we wrap it there? I think it's certainly a morning to be super patient. Today, the whole week's ahead of us, but I don't think we're going to see anything dramatic. I think the open today is going to be like it's opened.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, but we'll see. But don't try and make your week in a day. Don't make your day in an hour. And
don't try to make your week on Monday. It's funny. This plays out over and over again. We talked about this in a couple of your sessions, Lee. The midnight oil and gold trade was there again this morning. And every time, wait for Frankfurt to open. And the story right now, just internationally, we talked about this real briefly. Let me show this last thing on the hedge fund call, because those guys are all over the world, so we're hearing what they're hearing. The whole China lockdown thing is actually a really big story there, and we're getting bits and pieces of it, but China backed off on the crackdowns on the lockdown, and the population's like, good, we want to go out and do stuff, but the economists and the health people are like, gosh, if this economy has a massive outbreak, look out. So that's going on, and keep in mind the dynamics. There's still some political stuff going on around the world that could shake us up. And that's one of the warnings I have on my little card deck in front of my monitor, that we've had a lot of outlier days for various reasons. So every day that's kind of in the back of my mind. Is today going to be another one of those outliers where, we're going to push really crazy one way or the other? And so let's, be ready for those when they come and have a good plan.
Yep.
That's the story. All right.
Good stuff. Stay frosty, everyone, and we'll see you at the events during the week.
Indeed.
Sounds good.
Have a good one.
Bye.